the sky forge, the hammer sun beats down upon the anvil's sea. Our ship was molten to the touch. My eyes were scorched with keeping watch. At first, I thought the brilliant flecks I saw ahead were scavengers, feeding and fighting as they will, but neither albatross nor gull materialized. White uniforms stippled the surface. What grim fate, torpedo, mine or air attack blew up the troop ship had been quick, for she was nowhere to be seen. Oil patches were apparent, but for the most part the residue floated face down. A few were crew, some soldiers, but the bulk of them were nurses. A field hospital bound for a different theatre than most had trained for. Their attire of starched aprons and pristine caps clustered together as these girls had done in breaks at training schools. No jokes now, no infectious smiles, just a togetherness in death which etched into the memories of those of us who lined the decks. We had encountered many wrecks, witnessed carnage, rescued seamen screaming in agony, and thought we'd seen and done it all before, but these young women, score on score of them, unmanned us. Our skipper dared not linger. The threat of subs prowling the neighbourhood was real. Only a slow pass possible, a futile trawl for life amidst that marine cemetery before our speed increased. We left them bobbing in our wake. Sea salt had stiffened the material of capes and skirts. As we drew off, powerful engines shuddering prompted an ashen fluttering of cloth, as though they waved us out of sight. Grown men and officers, shamelessly tearful, from stern to stem. A centenarian, I still remember them. Thank you. In a church on the rock of Cashel, St. Patrick was baptizing a heathen Irish king. And according to the legend, and we're back in legend land now, at one point in the ceremony, the saint inadvertently transfixed the monarch's foot with his bishop's crosier. And the monarch, apparently thinking this was some kind of Christian test or other, initiation test, forbore to mention the matter for a while. So this is the convert's first prayer at Cashel. Lord, I'm not used to all this. Praying, that is, as a method of communication with no shouting and swearing, banging both fists on the arms of the throne, throwing tankards about. In my personal experience, a good bellow gets things done. Failing that, the flat of me sword. Failing that, the point of it. But Patrick says this way is better. Patrick says I can now talk to you from this rock all the way up to heaven with my mouth closed. And me eyes. I'm not at all happy about the eyes, Lord. If you had subjects like mine, you'd sleep with your eyes open, as I must. Which is why I have me body servant beside me. The great big ugly one, with the battle axe and the broken nose. I've told him he's not to pray while I'm praying, and he won't. I'm the one that broke his nose. And anyway, he can see me peeping. Lord, Patrick says I'm not to ask for victory over mine enemies in battle. Good harvests, loads of healthy sons, Patrick says. Those things will come to a Christian king in due time. But I do have one request regarding the ceremonial. Don't get me wrong, I like ceremonial. It puts people where I want them, kneeling for preference, with their heads bowed and their hands where I can see them. But now that we've reached the stage of conversing monarch to monarch, as you might say, I'd be more than grateful if you asked your saint to get his stick out of my foot. Amen! I am the key that fits your lock but does not turn, the burn that makes you flinch yet fails to leave a scar, the star not forecast in your horoscope, the soap you watch but swiftly lose the plot. I am the squat you languish in, whilst bailiffs kick the door, the war you joined the army to escape, the tape you breast in every race you start, the chart you navigate by when you're up the creek. I am the clique you're desperate to join, the groin you need to check my reflexes, the excess baggage you abandon at Heathrow. Oh, Dunkirks you've been evacuated from. I am the Romulus and Remus who get on your tits, the pitch your orchestra takes refuge in, the sin you probably committed in your youth, the sleuth who hasn't got a clue if you are culpable or innocent. I am the last meringue upon your plate, the straight who makes you gay, but when you pay the piper, whom you think can set you free, remember me, I am the key.